So in the wake of that horrific shooting in Uvalde, Texas, 19 children and 2 adults dead, several Democratic-led states are pressing forward with gun reform legislation. They include New Jersey, where Governor Phil Murphy is urging action on gun reform, including on a package he proposed. Governor Murphy is joining us from the Garden State this morning. Nice to have you back on Good Day New York.
Good to be back, Rosanna, and hello, everybody. Thanks for having me.
So, Governor, we had Governor Hochul on about a half hour ago. She talked about trying to raise the age on buying assault rifles here in New York. I hear that you want to do the same thing in New Jersey.
Yes, we do. So the good news is we have among the toughest gun safety laws of any state in America. So we're proud of that. We've gotten a lot done over the past 4.5 years. The challenging news is we're not, we can be better, we can be safer, and we're not an island. So we need to enact what we're calling Gun Safety Package 3.0, which includes raising the minimum age to purchase a long gun to 21. And we need, at the same time, Congress to act on steps that are overwhelmingly supported by the American people. We need both of those things to happen.
Governor, are you concerned? The U.S. Appeals Court ruled that California's ban on the sale of semi-automatic weapons to adults under 21 is unconstitutional. Do you think you will face that in New Jersey?
Listen, I'm concerned about the highest courts right now and their view on a lot of things, including reproductive freedom, gun safety. The U.S. Supreme Court is considering challenging New York's law as it relates to concealed carry. If we get to the point where it's a lowest common denominator reality in America, that's really bad for safety in New Jersey and in states around the country.
Governor, of course, we're all upset when we hear about these mass shootings in schools, but let's not forget what we live with every day. I know that homicides are up in New Jersey. We deal with illegal guns. I mean, we had some bozos firing guns on the streets of Coney Island yesterday in broad daylight. 4 of them just shooting guns like it's the Wild West. This is what we need to deal with every day.
Yeah, I mean, listen, God bless those kids, God bless those teachers, the folks in Buffalo. But your point is a good one. Sadly, it's a daily drumbeat, which is why we've taken the steps we've taken. We've come a long way in New Jersey, again, and the results are what you'd expect. We have among the safest states in America, but it can be better. We can be safer. We can tighten those laws even further without stepping on the Second Amendment rights. These are all common sense steps, everything from the age at which you can buy a long weapon to digitizing ammunition sales to safe storage between weapons on the one hand, ammunition on the other.
Governor, all these issues that you talk about here, and you sort of mentioned it, how much does it matter if New Jersey does all this to tighten its laws, but you can walk right across the street into Pennsylvania and they have the lax gun laws or some things that you all don't have in place? Isn't that more at the federal level? And do you have any confidence that anything's going to get done?
Yeah, Dan, it's and both. I view this, think about this in baseball terms. We're never going to bat 1,000, but we can improve our batting average. So that's what we're focused on. We're obsessed with that. So in New Jersey, we want to put these common sense laws in place. That'll improve our batting average to prevent gun crimes and gun fatalities. But your point is a very fair one. We need federal action. You saw over the weekend, there were 5 steps that have been polled lately that have the support anywhere from 67% of the American people to 88%. Universal background checks, red flag laws, making someone be 21 years old to buy a gun, 3-day waiting period, all common sense stuff supported broadly by Americans. If that's the case, we should have optimism that Congress can act. The problem is the gun lobby is standing between the will of the American people and congressional action, particularly on the Republican side of the aisle. We've got to break that lobby. We've got to break through it.
Can we talk a little bit about gas prices? I know a lot of states are starting to pull some of the gas tax and suspend it for a while. Has it really helped New Jersey?
Listen, New Jersey, the challenge with New Jersey gas tax is it's constitutionally tied to infrastructure. So if we pull the gas tax, we stop the infrastructure investment, and then when you restart it, it costs more money. You never say never, given how awful inflation is right now, but action at the federal level is a whole lot more sensible. They can print money. We can't.
You know, it's
Having
so funny.
said that,
You know, it's funny, not funny, but I just asked Governor Hochul that. I said the gas tax money in New York State usually funds the roads and the highways. And she said that they have money to do that as well. So do you have not a rainy day savings account?
we have rainy day money, but the amount of money it would cost us more to restart these programs after stopping them would come straight out of taxpayers' pockets. But Rosanna, here we've got better, smarter, frankly, bigger, more historic plans in place on affordability. We're negotiating our budget right now. It's due at the end of this month. I'm highly confident we'll get to a good place, and it will include historic, and I don't say that word lightly, historic steps on affordability to put money right back into the pockets of our middle-class families and seniors.
Well, Governor Murphy, I think the money that's leaving a lot of New Jerseyans' pockets is going towards gas because it just went up 55 cents in the past month. I mean, I love the state of New Jersey. I might have to buy a bike and ride myself over there to visit you guys because it's going to probably reach $5 a gallon this summer.
Yeah.
So what is your, I guess, maybe some advice?
It's beautiful out here.
Yeah, but maybe I'm going to have to ride a bike because it's just going to get real expensive to get going over the
Dan
across
lives
the bridge.
in your state, just so you know.
But any relief for people that are worried about that?
Absolutely. Listen, when I say historic affordability, I'm talking putting $10,000 to $12,000 on average into people's pockets. I'm talking about free state parks, free marriage licenses, free re-ups on your driver's license, free professional licenses for healthcare workers. We're looking at a whole range of steps, but I'm going to repeat my begging the federal government to waive their gas tax because they can do it much more easily. They can print money, we can't. You combine all of that together, that's a huge amount of affordability relief for our families.
And Governor Rosanna just mentioned it, but my wife and our 4 kids live in the lovely Essex County, just a beautiful part of the state. One of the things that's really popping up on a lot of the mom and pop blogs out there has to do with all these bear sightings that we have all over the state, not just in Essex County. Montclair, they had one a while ago. Sussex County, even though it's rare, we heard about a woman who was attacked. A lot of people are saying this is a result of your decision not to have the bear hunt that takes place annually anymore. How closely is your administration watching this, and are you worried about this?
Yeah, we're watching it very closely, as you can imagine. In fact, there have been sightings in my hometown where I am now, Middletown, in Monmouth County. We take it very seriously. I was on with the Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Protection literally yesterday on this very topic. We have a significant amount of money in our budget for research, for manpower, for a whole lot of steps that are non-lethal to manage this challenge.
So
we believe we can do that.
No word to bring back the bear hunt at all. Not going to happen as far as at all as far as you can see it.
No, not going to happen because we believe. It's not to say that there isn't an issue here, because there is, but we believe there are better, more humane ways to deal with this than a bear hunt, and we have a significant amount of money to back that belief up in our budget.
Can you just, is there an example, of a non-lethal? I'm sure that there is, and everybody wants, it's a densely populated state. You're going to pass with animals in New Jersey, sort of a way to make it work, but is there an example of a non-lethal way? Because you can't just bring them in and train them or anything like that.
We saw that one walking on 2 legs in the video just now.
That's I guess.
Yeah. No, listen. This is let's be clear. No one's denying that there aren't bear sightings right now. There are. That's real. But listen, Connecticut, which looks a lot like New Jersey, hasn't had a bear hunt since the 1840s. So it's not like that's the only way you could deal with this. I was on with a mayor yesterday talking about how we could potentially tranquilize and then transport a bear into a much less populated part of the state. Steps like that, more education, more manpower, more awareness, and we're putting money behind all of that.
Can we talk a little COVID numbers? How are things in New Jersey?
Listen, they've been up over the past couple of months. It feels like they're leveling off. Our rate of transmission peaked about a week ago, and it's been coming down daily. We still have too high a positivity rate, to be honest. Our hospitalizations are 800 and something. Put that into context, the peak of this pandemic in April of 2020 was 8,270. So we're a fraction of that, thank God. Most of the folks in the hospital are either COVID incidental. In other words, they're in the hospital because they had a heart attack and they happen to test positive for COVID, which we take seriously, by the way, but they're not there because of COVID, or they're unvaccinated or not boosted. So I would just beg folks to get vaccinated, get boosted. These variants are much more transmissible, but if you're vaccinated and boosted, much less lethal.
Well, we hope so. I mean, maybe the variants are less lethal and you don't need another booster, because I hear this booster is not for the variant that's out right now.
All of Donetsk Oblast, therefore all of Donbass.
Sorry,
Listen, I'm
about
of
that.
the age.
And that chapter.
I'm of
Sorry,
the age
my
group
iPad's
where-
going crazy.
The BBC is high.
No, that's all right. Listen, anytime you let me open up for De Niro, you can throw anything you want at me.
No, so I'm just wondering, because like the booster right now is not for the variant that everybody's getting.
Yeah.
Well, Tammy and I are both over 50, and we got the second booster a couple of months ago, and we've been in some very crowded indoor situations, and we're both testing negative throughout. With each head COVID, we had light cases. But listen, my advice, get vaccinated, get boosted, and use common sense. When you're inside and you're packed in with a bunch of people whose status you don't know in terms of vaccinations, be careful. When you're outside, you can let your hair down a lot more easily.
Or you could be like the governor of California, and you could not breathe when you take pictures with people and when you take your mask off. That's an option, too. I got to take it back to mammals real fast, because a lot of people use plastic bags to pick up the droppings left behind. But you're banning those. That goes into effect. It's been in effect since May 1st. How's the feedback been on that, the ban on plastic bags? I know some people love it. Some people really do hate it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this is absolutely the right thing to do. Dan mentioned this, we're the most densely populated state in America. And so how you handle the environment in New Jersey is a pass-fail reality. It's not, you can't get a gentleman's C on the environment. Now, having said that, it's new habits. Some people rightfully say, listen, this is a pain in the neck. We're going to have to get used to it. But at the end of the day, it's the right thing to do. And I think 6 months from now, just to pick a date, when we've all been doing it for that amount of time, I think folks will accept it as part of the new reality. And at the end of the day, it is absolutely the right thing to do for our kids and their kids.
I always forget mine when I go
Me
to the
too.
grocery store. I have to go back in. But I tell you what, when you go back and when you get home, if you only have 2 bags to carry and you just kind of muscle up and bring them in, it's better than the 10 bags. Yeah, I know
It's a free workout, right?
That's like a personal thing. It's not the environment.
I don't know. Governor, could you ask them to make the paper bags a little stronger?
With some
Because
candles.
every time
Look
I
at
go, it breaks by the time I put it in a trunk.
I'm sorry. That's on me. We'll work on that.
Anyway, Governor Murphy, thank you so much for joining us right here on Good Day New York. We appreciate it.
Always great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.